5 different buttons to actually get into live now. They've added live stream, have added something, or StreamYard have added something, some other agreement that you have to click with. Well, yeah, it's like 5 different buttons there. Been looking at a lot of stuff in. First of all, good evening, everyone. Been looking at a lot of stuff in Athlone. It's been so much that's happened there in like the last 3-4 days from the things that I've come across. Anyway. I'll get straight into them after more people come in. Even Europa, highlight. You might hear me dogs snoring. But hey, I'll get straight into my bookmarks, right? People of Athlone. These videos are all over TikTok now. I haven't really been on TikTok as much, but I would use Twitter a lot, and I've seen loads of these videos of like the guards trying to sweeten up the people and all the tactics they use. I have to share present first. Hang on. Hey Rob. So this one here, this is the Clonmel concerned residents shared this one 33 minutes ago. Oh, people do have the power, you just need to use it. Well done to the people of Athlone. Stay together.
You're not allowed to touch the people, so take them to serve.
That music now probably gets struck. See loads of them coming out. I'll get a few more. I have a few more there. This I thought was a bit of a weird interaction. Same place again, and we are in the midst of hashtag GE24, and not one media outlet will report on this and give these people a voice. So it's like the guards shuffling the ladies. Let me see if this is coming up alright. Yes, yeah. Who's in here now? Yo. Paddy McCarthy. A profile pic is interesting. That what I hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. Yeah, because I see a lot of it. You know, it's because I see so much of it. Of many more profile pics that I use. Usually, it's the finger blinding the Illuminati guy. Oh, look at that! As I said, if William mentioned it, it's a bit weird. But I thought this interaction with these Irish ladies in Athlone was two ways to take it. Like you could see the guards kind of giggle with the ladies at one point, but you know it's just a show of force. And I take it someone came up with the idea of putting all the ladies, Irish ladies, at the front there, and just to see the guards' reaction. There you go. Let's have a look at this.
Slow down. What shoes you want? It's the same one again, isn't it? Yeah. No, she's not breathing after.
You should ask him when his lunch break is.
We'll be interested in a breakfast break anyway.
It's like slightly awkward to watch as well, isn't it? But I mean, the times we're in, we get over awkwardness. We know, even though like they're smiling and laughing with us. I mean, they're turning on us. Do you know? They're moving those people. I don't even know what the full extent of what's happening in Athlone. Do you know? I only start looking into it because certain people mention it to me. But yeah, I think they're laughing because one of these girls over here, she has a bit of a comedic streak, and the guards that are ushering her previously did the same thing to her before, and it's caused a bit of a laughter to creep in.
I know that after this, I know that for I know that you see. You actually don't do it, but that was that.
For all women.
Very symbolic, though, isn't it? Very symbolic.
Oh, now we're getting into it.
Get the stop sign, yeah.
No, we go to the stop sign.
Okay, smile touchy. Get this back. Sorry. Let's push it out. We are moving.
We are.
And encourage you to realize you're getting to the point
I guarantee if there's no cameras about, they'd be bleeding. You know what they'd be doing. I don't even have to say. And anything I say tonight, YouTube, it's for entertainment purposes. Bleeding airy fairies now. There's another one at Athlone. Hang on, check the chat. Yeah, I can see her name. Like, Letitia. I see her name. Yeah. I know, Paul. Where's the justified anger? What's up, Billick? Yeah, right, I'll call up there. Here's another one out. Another one out of Athlone. I mean, they're big ass loader trucks that are going in. So it's going to be the same as what they did in the other place in was it Nice? It's going to be the same as there. With these flattening the ground out, so they have a big area to put all these little cubicle shelters in.
I'm not going to turn back, no. I'm not going to turn back. You have to get off. You're blocking him from getting off the main road. You're committing the offence, okay? Simple as that. Now let him in off the public road, please. We've 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more trucks trying to get in here. Here's the POU again here. Come on, guys.
Bad stuff. Bad stuff going on there. It's the mass migration of people and not knowing who the people are that they're putting in there, what their real intention is, what they're going to be used for. You know, I have it bookmarked, and I'll show it in a minute. But he mentions about it's the Hungarian guy. I always forget his name. The Hungarian PM, and he mentioned that it was signed. The deal was signed back in 2005 or something, that Europe will take 1 million a year. 1 million immigrants a year. Part of whatever deal that all those people make that is supposed to be good and safe for a nation. And it's Orban, yeah. Orban, that's the one. Orban. Shit. I always forget his name, I don't know why. Okay, I'll show a few more of the Athlone that I have, and then I'll switch it up. If I see something good in the chat that you highlight, you can partly dictate where this stream will go. Gotcha. I also have to plug my blade charger in. Just plugging that in. Did anyone hear that story of an Irish girl getting electrocuted in her own bath because she was on her mobile phone? Did anyone hear that story? She's now deceased. Something like her brother had just passed away 2-3 months ago or something like that as well. But what I piqued the interest about it was the girl was in the bath using her mobile phone while it was charging. And I said to the brother, because it was the sister-in-law that brought her up, and I said to them all then, God, isn't that like, that's a bit off, because whenever I am in my bathroom and I am holding something that is a cable, even that sends alarm bells off in my head. Like I shouldn't be in there with that, or what that's capable of doing or leading to, because it's in the setting of the bathroom. And I know there are, like, I think he said that the Americans or something have plugs in their bathrooms and all this stuff. But I mean, you could just put an extension cord on, couldn't you? But I just found it strange, because even when that's a thought that springs into my head, just to be wary of what you're fucking 46 or 37, I think. Very weird story. Plus, be careful with electricity and water, yeah, don't mix. Oh wait, I didn't show you that Athlone, that last Athlone one, did I? I'll show you this one.
That's assault! Can't be assaulting innocent people! It's against the law! You're not allowed to touch the people! Protect and to serve! Keep moving!
You see this a few times at these gatherings where the odd one or two will get sent away, and we kind of rejoice about it. But it's about like, I don't know, keeping momentum up at places like this. You know.
Keep moving! Have to stop assaulting innocent people, lads!
Fair play to the people. Fair play to the people. Power to the people. Athlone, Dungeons & Dragons, all Athlone, the last few videos that I've played there. Type of premises, centers. You have to dive on it a bit. Once I dive on it a bit, I'll put something together. The specific location, per se. So it's interesting to know a lot about these, because a lot of them, well, the last 2 or 3 that I've seen seem to be the identical sort of layout. You know, cubicle, military style type. mean, did I not see a video, Hugh, did I not see a video of the monk saying he wasn't going to run and kind of laughed it off? Was that at the port or the airport or the boat port, one or the other? I think that was the last thing I seen about him. Big smiley head. And I've noticed a lot on it's peaked a lot of interest, on videos. There's a lot of videos now on social media of the extended family and goes into all their background and stuff like that. But there are people out there that, would be like, Jesus, yeah, get him up there. He'd be better than what we have in. Anything's better than what we have in currently. Oh, yeah, two sugars, nice one. Store to the left, no bubbles. Teabag Harris. God, that's one of the bookmarks, lad. I'm gonna go I'm gonna keep this up because I keep the bookmarks up and sort of what I have. There's the chapos. This is interesting. Elon shared that 19 hours ago. Showing us that in a minute. Oh wait, here's Orban. Here's Orban, right? What we were just talking about.
Publication. It was done 2015, September 26th, and he published.
So yeah, it was 10 years off, 2015.
A plan. He said that I'm quoting, he write the 6 components of my comprehensive plan. I just quote 2 or 3 points of that. First is, he said very clearly, 2015, that, quoting again, EU has to accept at least 1 million asylum seekers annually. That was the first point.
But then, so if that's happening annually, it's going to make me think then because what makes me think of when he said 1 million, it made me think of Germany. It brought that talk back about what they did to Germany and how Merkel allowed 1 million in all at once. So are they planning to do that with more countries? I don't know. Or have they been doing it like that?
Second, he said, adequate financing is critical. And he proposed to issue long-term euro bonds for financing the migration crisis and the migrants' social and welfare taking care when they arrive to the European Union. And another point which is very important for Hungary, which is involving the territory of Hungary directly into this program, he said that, quoting them, safe channels must be established for asylum seekers, starting with getting them from Greece and Italy to their destination countries, which means to bring them to Greece, to Hungary, and then have them to go to Austria. So don't forget that what we are speaking about is not an accidental stories, not a bulk of.
You mentioned Soros. It's a Soros plan, or his name is linked into it. A fellow Hungarian. He is Hungarian, isn't he? Soros is Hungarian.
10 years of accidental story. It's a plan which is going on. It was written. It was published. It's known. So we are fighting again an organized gang called Empire of George Soros, NGOs, who are supporting everybody who is transgressing our legal system.
Correct pronunciation? George Soros.
And our regulation, and financing illegal activity against our nation. So this is why the story is not just about migration, but it's about how this European Union is working and how George Soros was able to captive the main positions inside many institutions of European Union, buying out MPs and other leaders, and in order to execute the plan which is written and it's against all all the Christian and nation-based political forces. It's against.
It's exactly what Schwab, Klaus Schwab, reminded me of him. This sort of strategy of, we will infiltrate the cabinets, that type. And it's weird because he's like a Bond villain. I've seen him in the robes. I don't want to wait. I'll go over this one for a minute real quick and go back to the Harris. There was somebody said something there in the chat that made me think of something. Let me just go back up. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said I'd have a tea. Lovely, thanks. No coffee. Yeah, let me just go back. It's okay. Justice for Mary Boyle and Jojo Dullard, both murdered and covered up by the government parties Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael with the help of the Garda. Yeah. Oh, actually, I forgot I could do this. Sean. Where's that comment? That's in the backstage. Boom. Yeah, I could see. Because, like I said, I do watch a lot of stuff on Twitter, and there everything goes, and you can see how MSN. Pardon me. You can see how MSN tried to link the Jojo Dullard one in with Larry Murphy, in a name that they can just throw out, and anything that's happened really bad to someone, they can just say, "Oh, sure, that was Larry Murphy." You see the media trying to, dictate to people where that story should go, and Mary Boyle one, yeah. They're evil buggers, are we? How you do? Yeah, Bob Trevor Wilton. Let's say Bob Trotter. I watched that first video you put out, and it was like the light coming in on you. It was like your skin. You look like it's like porcelain. Like, I don't mean that in a negative way, like in a good way, like sculpted. Your face looked sculpted. It's pretty cool looking. Wherever you're on, I'll have some of that. Oh, you mousy. That's the crack. We'll continue here. Hang on. I'm gonna see if I see something in the comments that sprung to mind. So this was the first time I seen this. Actually, we'll go back to Ireland now. Hang on. This is messed up. I don't know if many people seen this. It's a page called Europe Invasion, and a 27-year-old man in the United States pretended to be 17 years old, right? 17 years old, with a fake ID, enrolled in high school, and had with girls. The man he was caught and he was sentenced. And that's a fair sentence. It's 85. He won't see daylight 85. Already 27 and give him 85. But can I don't know if they see. I don't know if they. Let me just listen to it. I'll be home for a minute. Just see if she says anything that's. Yeah, check this out. Look at what in the world. And his name, there's something about someone pointed out there's something about his name. Zachary Schwim or something. I don't know. Have a listen. I can share it because she doesn't say anything to against YouTube's policies or whatever. It's mad that you have to, just to watch a blatant video. Here, have a listen to this.
Use my body for 6 years for your own sexual gratification.
The 27-year-old was sentenced to 85 years in prison for several female high school students, well disguised as a 17-year-old. Zachary Shaik disguised himself as a 17-year-old boy and attended to different high schools in Lincoln for a total of 54 days. During this time, he was accepted into the schools using false documents, including birth certificates, immunization records, transcripts, and medical records. And with his 164 centimeters height and social media targeting, he lured the female high school students into having sex with him as their boyfriend. It wasn't until June that authorities immediately launched an investigation into Shaik after a parent found out what was going on and contacted the school district. Authorities said Shaik created false documents posing as a 17-year-old student and admitted to having inappropriate relationships with multiple female students. Police say Shaik also asked a 23-year-old woman, Angela Navarro, to pose as his mother to.
So that was his mother. Like, you know, when I first heard it and I seen him, I'm like, yeah, he could possibly pose as like a few years younger than he actually is, but to go for so long, and then the school believed that this was his mother. What's going on in the world?
To help him get into the school, but she pleaded not guilty to the impersonation charge and was released on bail. Shaik was eventually sentenced to 85 to 120 years in prison.
So he won't get out anyway. 180 to 125 years. Good enough for him. Conniving, evil. Blech. Yeah, it is easy to get the L. Actually, let's look at chat. Got the exclusive is the rest stuff. Actually, while I'm having a look through the owl, I will get to Ireland, right? I know. Yeah, I will focus on Ireland. Here's your one, Le Pen. But the words just and this guy's reaction to our words are a bit bizarre. I like the French. I like the French language.
Je voudrais d'abord que ceux qui nous écoutent comprennent que Donald Trump, comme Vladimir Poutine, ils défendent les intérêts de leur nation d'abord. Voilà. Ils ne sont pas en train de défendre l'intérêt des Français. Donc l'Europe devrait défendre l'intérêt de l'Europe. Et donc ils imposent.
So what you're saying is Europe should defend Europe. Is the first thought. Is the first thought of basically this news channel, which are just all arms of the establishment. Is then Europe? Well, then you're saying that Le Pen, then Europe should defend Europe.
Donald Trump impose aux autres le libre-échange, mais pour lui, il fait du protectionnisme. Donc, il suffit de ne pas être totalement stupide et de se dire, eh bien, écoutez, nous aussi, nous allons défendre les intérêts de la France et, en l'occurrence, s'opposer aux accords de libre-échange qui ont détruit des pans entiers de notre...
Vous êtes contre cet accord commercial avec les États-Unis?
Mais je suis parfaitement contre, j'ai toujours été contre, parce qu'encore une fois, on peut très bien être des alliés, mais être allié, ça ne veut pas dire être soumis, et il est évident que la France a abandonné la défense de l'intérêt supérieur de notre pays et de l'intérêt...
That's the only reason that she spiked there recently was because the French people just had enough of Macron, because Macron was just seen to basically treat the French people like Hamas Harris treats the Irish people. in the sense of, ignoring all the native people's interests and concerns and real worries, while seeing to just, you'll see the videos coming up where he's just like dancing around in a bleeding. He's dancing around, and then Mary Lou copies him literally the same day, later on the same day or something, because the shop was, but he probably did bleed at the same time, the Punch and Judy kicked into overtime, and they go around doing little skits copying each other. What's that about? But that's what, she obviously sparked something within the French people, hence why she's there speaking like that. Hey Joni, what's up? France and Germany. And like was what was Germany's sacrifice bleeding? They let in 1 million at once, that's what that tied back into what we were saying earlier about that plan running since 2015, where the deal was that Europe as a whole had to take in 1 million per annum, so per year. What did she just do? I didn't keep up. I didn't keep up with her. Like, I heard about her, I just didn't keep up with her track record story, But the way she was describing that there, they're all picking up on certain things that they know are key to people feeling safe within their own nation. Let me just have a look through the chat again. Yeah, Sean Marcus, when I seen Maloney, you mentioned the Italian one. When I've talked about von der Leyen, right? And watch how different people. Sorry, bit tired. Watch how these different politicians around Europe react around her when she's in their presence. And Maloney she was all like, Viva Italia and all, like, Italian, true and true, Italy for the Italians and all this. But when von der Leyen was around her, she was like she turned into a puppy dog. I suppose that's the best way. She kind of just sat there with her eyes looking up now and again, and when von der Leyen was talking. And she just reminded me of a puppy dog, that Maloney one. I must ask, because I do have chats with random chats with everyone, but the chipper around the corner from me is owned by an Italian couple, and they've Italian kids here, grew up here and everything. And I must ask him about Maloney. My things for it. I think they're actually going back, so it'd be interesting to know actually who's going to buy that spare around there. Just remind myself. Sell the shit to make myself note that. Remind myself of that. No Trumpster. What, that'd be the third time? What, third time lucky? No Trump. The Whore of Babylon. No, wait, let me go up and show you this. Let me show you Harris. No, Hamas Harris. Dancing the night away. Didn't he? I did a short of him doing this with, that time he went to Ukraine. He did it. Remember? When he went to Ukraine, he did a dance on some stage over there with music going in the background, obviously. But here he is again. If he's not eating fucking ice cream, he's dancing with old ladies. Look at that. It's fucking, look at it again, 33 seconds. What's going on, boys? He has some rhythm. He's panting like crazy. And then, like I said, soon. Oh no, I lost it. Lost where I was on the page now. Like I said, then Mary Lou copies it. Okay. What's that? What do you think that's about? Same layout, same angle, everything. Like, but it's I think it's like a baby store or something. But it's a baby store where they do. It's not the way sometimes these baby shops have a studio where they do the camera shots for the parents, like of the children. But it's probably worth looking into who this woman is. No connections. What part she playing, you know? But it's just Punch and Judy, man. Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's Punch and Judy. Grew up out of that garden. So let's say. Which one's Mary Lou's brother? Frankie's straight in with it. Truth is funnier than fact. I said that wrong. Sorry, that Luke said is fizzy. I wouldn't hire any of them to do anything. They see they're all book smart. They're not street smart. All these people. I wouldn't even consider myself street smart. You know, just common sense. Just common sense, and you know, you can really tell that the establishment is trying harder and harder when they do that. Like many people have talked about this before me today. RTE. That shows you how dangerous RTE can be. With that skit they did with that poor Irish girl, like putting her up there. I wonder if they even informed her of what was going to be asked of her, or you know, I'm sure. Yeah, there were certain things that they would have focused on. The whole point of her being there. But I wonder if they told her that she was going to be literally sitting next to the person. This made me go and look into cultural humiliation. That's one thing that came up, you know, while looking into it, 'cause that's what it was. Even people out there on other platforms are saying this is mockery. This is mocking the Irish people by the national broadcasting station. There's a reason that's why it boils our blood. That's what it's supposed to do, you know. That's what it's with the media. It's Project Mockingbird, you know, with the media. The way they jump on all the far right stuff. Knowing that's non-existent. It's just mockery. It's just pulled out of fucking thin air. There was one that came up, hang on. It was more recent because I was It bring up all different ones. Like it bring up, of course, I asked AI obviously because it's so broad and vast with its replies. Colonial policies was number one on it. There was 6, I think. Indian residential skills in Canada. These are ways in which an establishment can breaks down its society to control it even more. U.S. policy towards Native Americans. I'm sure it goes for the Aborigines in Australia. China's Cultural Revolution, which is during the Cultural Revolution, the Chinese government under Mao actively sought to eliminate traditional customs, beliefs, and practices that were viewed as feudal or anti-communist. Local traditions and historical artifacts were ridiculed or destroyed. And then when I read that bit, I was like, well, yeah. Well, to certain people, there have been historical artifacts and statues that have been mocked and humiliated. And it was by one of the big ones was by someone reminded me in the chat of that girl from Dublin City Council. The big frog eyes. So many of them. That's why they're the most fucking dangerous. Things like that. Last one was Soviet Union's policies on indigenous cultures. The USSR implemented policies to modernize indigenous populations, especially in Central Asia and Siberia, where local customs are often portrayed as backward. And seeing that as well, we've seen that with this SPHE stuff. These pages in the books that got released. The Russian government promoted Russian language and culture as the standard, sometimes mocking or suppressing local practices as part of a broader Sovietization effort. And I'm sure it could give me many more. If I said, like for instance, if I go, can you give me a list of another 5 times this has happened in human history? You're getting live here on the spot. And look at the first one was what I was thinking, was the Australian indigenous policies and the stolen generations. So when you see that thing with RTE, this is what it is to me, in my opinion. But I'll read them to you. Some of them are interesting. The Australian one, in Australian Indigenous policies and the stolen generations. For much of the 19th and 20th century, Australia implemented policies aimed at assimilating Indigenous populations into Western society. Indigenous Australians were removed from their families in a policy known as the stolen generations, and they were often placed in homes where they were discouraged or punished for speaking their language or practicing cultural traditions. Indigenous customs were often ridiculed as backward, while Western customs were forced on them. Now, personally, I didn't see much myself, but there was many stories that I heard from that short period. There was 3 weeks. Yeah, it was 3 weeks I was in Australia, and some of the way, and the Australian people that are there that are talking about it, like they feel bad for them, but of course it's just a thing that's always been all they've known, the way these people get treated, because they're always portrayed as backward and all that stuff. I found that flag to be interesting. Go look into the history of the Aborigines flag. I thought that was very interesting. Just throw that out there. There's a little thing for you to go and look into. the Spanish colonization of Latin America. So they the Spanish one, South America, the British Raj in India. Jesus, Japanese occupation of Korea. What about that? 1910 to 1945. Japanese government imposed policies that aimed to erase Korean culture and replace it with Japanese customs. Koreans were forced to adopt Japanese names, speak Japanese, and participate in Shinto rituals, while Korean language, history, and culture symbols were actively suppressed and ridiculed. Korean resistance to these policies was often brutally repressed. So I mean, put that in the, carry that forward and think of plantation of being forced into an area of said people with all these different ideologies. Just a boiling pot. It's just a boiling pot. Yeah, and Letitia, yeah. Stuff, Frankie. We the white race live. The world depends on us. We made everything. What that? I think Simon Harris got in that one. Do. Yeah, that's sure as well. You'd be Irish before anything. Yourself, yeah. What else have I got booked back there? You know? Yeah, so they're copying each other. The old Punch and Judy. Where is that? Let me just. Like, here you go. Like, it's a minute. It's for, and YouTube, it's for educational purposes. Okay. And this is, this broadcaster gets paid for by taxpayer money, so we should be able to share what they're airing. Do you not think? This is the Irish girl. This is a lady that's been brought, that has come over here and been given whatever, right? Have a listen.
Tonight from a homeless home. Yeah. You've been there since last June, is that right? Yeah. You're there and you have your 4-year-old son with you and he has complex medical needs.
Yeah.
Can you just very quickly tell us, how did you end up there in this situation?
So I was private renting a property for 2,700 a month, and issues came across with my little boy's crash. So I left my job and I just couldn't sustain the rent, and I had to declare myself homeless.
So the hub, you've been in the hub since then?
Yeah.
How are you finding it there?
Very hard.
Last year, you got a call from Wicklow County Council that changed your life.
Yes. I received a letter very unexpectedly, basically saying that I was being nominated for housing if I was interested, which absolutely. And I was put forward and I was accepted by the cooperative housing, and we've been in our forever home.
Forever home. That's the language as well, you see. Pascal. Pascal. I think he fakes that thing for sympathy. You know, apologies for anyone that has a lisp button, you know what I mean? That's exactly what I thought was like a humiliation ritual of sorts, you know? And then the other lady has this attitude of, it's great, it's fantastic, you know, it's totally cool. But I don't know if she was like an accent or whatever, but, you know, that they informed the Irish girl that she was going to be sitting right beside that and drop that shit. It is, Johnny. And that's what, and they got this company that's pushing that out on national television, got 725 million, like a bailout from the government, from the Irish government, to continue because they were fecked otherwise. It's a humiliation ritual. Well, the woman, like, she's bad. This one here, I can't. You know, see, I can't even, because it's every fifth or sixth word, and now this is switching to a completely different thing. But it's a really unusual reaction, and simply because a political figure lost, and she goes on. You can go and have a look there. American as F. He's obviously sharing for awareness about these certain individuals out there on TikTok, social influencers. But this is a mockery as well, because she's saying to white people that your daughter is going to come home full of Michaels, all that stuff. As in, like, in an angry response to Kamala Harris not getting elected, or is it the fact that the other side over there got elected? Just found it. I just want some of these influencers, like, God knows, but I don't know. Like, I didn't go that far in the sense of going looking into how many followers or whatever she has, but this of some, I'd say, is Republican sharing it. So what the fuck? Some weird people. Have them in the chat. Yeah, we all thought that lady. Hang on, that's a good comment. We all thought that, didn't we? But that's what McEntee propagated about, and will still. I think she dropped it even. I think she dropped that line literally the other day as well. Elle McEntee. She was at or I guess it was her like inauguration or whatever role she got put up into, and they had her in red. Did you see that video? They had her in this like red, bright, vibrant red dress, and the way she was like greeting the people as if they were, all one big happy family type of thing. It was the weirdest thing. Probably another ritual, Oh, Emmanuel, say hi, Emmanuel. Sorry, no, man. Just catching back up. I was going to share some videos in there. What's that? There are a lot of nasty fuckers out there. Just pop some of these who's having curious ourselves so I can go along. It's not still sharing, but I'll stop sharing that just because there are some things that I did bookmark. So if you just took one look at, like, they're pretty, some of them can be pretty bad. The American ones in particular. TikTok's worse. I've noticed as well, because I do be in the car at certain times, you notice that they're advertising still advertising the other stuff, the magic juice. But they're still sticking to the line of 2-for-1 type of thing, where you get your annual floozy one, and then the other one, two at once or something. I know it's being advertised on the radio a lot now. Wasn't there I think it was Ada. People know Ada. He shared knowledge of a story of it in the same area in Ballahidran, the same area I think it was. I'm still struggling to say that name of that place, but a hit and run on a young Irish lad by Roma. And there were little periods of time where, you know, that was spiking for a bit. You heard of these traffic accidents everywhere. And like, you're walking around the area and, you know, like corner walls because around housing estates, there's a house, the corner house has this big corner garden. And they just have a wall and then a big garden. And you see all, like, some of them have fucking clear a car hit it. You know? There's a lot of that happening for a while. It's probably all bleeding then. Chat's fine there. So yeah, if there's something else that was you think should be shared, put it in the chat there, because I can easily just go on Twitter and have a look see. But yeah, Ada is big, yeah, because I like the way if once again, Hugh, it's like that. It's like these certain individuals who simply just sit there in front of a camera and share their ideas. You know, the link is being once again just good common sense ideas about how things should operate. While still at the same time, he always reminds you as well, like most of us will do, that yeah, not everyone's gonna see eye to eye, obviously. But there are certain things, like let's be completely honest with ourselves. There are certain things that should be just like, oh, that's 100% agreeable, you know. And he has a good way of saying the way he sees it. I'll add it. Go bad it. Someone shares. One of me mods shares channel there if you don't mind. I'll add it. Make Ireland great again. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Oh, share that one. It's true. And then to have knowledge of the open mockery of said natives while they're doing that at the same time is even worse. It's an insight into what type of human being they are. All right, right. I don't know, where was it? It was. I did see one or two little bits about it on Twitter, and then added to the video on the one I'm talking about. how hit and runs are. And if people remember, that time, the young lad, the young traveller chap, had that happen to him. Remember? Dwyer did a follow-up video, and he said his contact or someone in a scrapyard contacted him about the car that these guys went round in, and they were looking for like quick sale, and I think they ended up for selling it for like I think so 350 quid or something. It was quick sale. That was the same individuals, because Philip had asked people to describe, could they describe any of them, and when one did, he had this image and described it to the scrapyard guy, and he said, "Yeah, that's it. That's the chap that was here selling the car." So they were. That's how easy it was for them. They had time to go to these scrap dealers and set up a deal to sell that car to them, and all, before they could flee to wherever they are. God knows where they are. Excuse me. Yeah, can you share? Oh, hang on. I have them in my history. Actually, I can. You wouldn't mind me streaming one of his things. Here you go. I'll save you the ad that's on it. Even the adverts are changing up the way you can skip them now. Have you noticed that as well? The old yellow line on the bottom. There's all these little weird fucking things I do. Hang on. So here I'll share it live for others, people who aren't sub to them or came across it.
Catching up on some of the stories that are flying around about Ireland, right? And I don't know whether they break your heart or steal your heart. Like, so the first one was from some talk show nonsense thing. I don't know, maybe up front or something, but it was some chat show thing anyway. And in the audience, they had an Irish woman who was paying 2,700 euros a month in rent. And through whatever personal reasons she alludes to, crash issues with her kids or whatever, she had to quit her job and she couldn't obviously keep up with the rent. So she got put into a homeless shelter, right? And then right beside her, literally hip to hip, right, they have an African woman talking.
That's the way I put it. Hip to hip. It was literally hip to hip, sitting there right beside the other girl, like that, knowing the power and symbolism of it.
About how she's here and she got selected to get a home, right? And people are like, isn't this lovely and isn't this great? And boo the boss for the African lady, right? This is just disgraceful. I don't know if the Irish woman was aware of what the setup of this was going to be. But talk about spitting in someone's face, right? So this Irish woman who was paying her way has funded this African woman's home now, right? And there's politicians and that sitting on the stage and they're totally jovial about the whole thing, right? It's a scandal. It's scandalous. Scandalous. And I don't know. Look, I understand that people, we all avoid reality when it causes us anxieties or whatever, right?
That's a fucking deep saying, that.
Fair enough. this stuff is becoming so blatant, and it's such a. I seen one comment saying what a humiliation ritual, and absolutely apt, right? So you stick this woman in and rub it in her face that her taxpayers are now funding for people who aren't from this country to get homes, while she's living in a homeless shelter with her kids. Like, it's ridiculous, right? And what was the second one I was looking at? Yeah, so like some Romanian fella who's been in Ireland for 2 months kills, hit and run, right? Kills a 16-year-old young fella. And people wonder why there's car crashes and deaths all over the country. Like, how many of these things are being reported, right? How many of these people, how many of these...
He said when he said that, that's what made me think of all the, you know, the little bleeding walls I was talking about that I seen. I wonder how many of them are caused by all that. And it's just all kind of, you know, swept and not talked about.
Incidents are people conversant with. How much do we know about this, right? And your insurance continues to soar. My insurance continues to soar, right? Is there any linkage, right, might we ask, right? And then the third thing is just Athlone, right? You're looking at public order units, right? They look like they're ready for combat. Why are they there? Why are they there, right? So they're standing in the one instance and they're telling people, we've no issue with you protesting, which means what you're doing here is perfectly legal. So why are they there? Why are they there? To act in some preemptive sort of fashion, right? In case the Irish people get rowdy, right? So we don't want you protesting in a space where your protesting could actually be effective. We'll move you along here to an area where it renders your protest meaningless, right?
It's another fucking great point. On top of them, like, most of them not causing a reaction, you know? It's not a great point.
So we don't mind you over there shouting and maybe giving out a bit, but in terms of actually stopping what's going on, that's not allowed, right? And the excuse they're giving is, if you're going to stand there and block a public road by not leaving the truck swing in off the road, then there's orders we can use to arrest you or to move you on, right?
Section 8, Section 8.
These people aren't, it's not their intention to block a public road, right? It's their intention to protest. If the Gardaí decided they want to get involved in that.
Fucking ads, man. That's... Someone shared his thing there into the chat, so you can have a look at the rest of that video. Gripped, you know, grip not compromised. How come they're allowed to question the politician when no others are? Yeah, it does. Well, you could say that like as well. Well, he doesn't get in, does he? Your man Stephen doesn't get in to ask them hardball questions. But he would do just as much research and questioning of certain hotels that have been given over and stuff like that. That's what I like about Stephen, that part that he's highlighting. But Grip, yeah, I don't think Ben doesn't go around the hotels or anything, does he? I've never seen him go around the hotel or anything. The guard, the public order, what's that? Yeah. That's what they blab. That's the first thing they mentioned, Sean. Section 8, Section 8. Say it right back. If you don't, it's like it's meant to be a warning of sorts. And then once you ignore that initial charge, if you literally ignore it for a second, they can literally just say it and then nick you. Like that's exactly what they did to me outside Crown. Was grab you by the arm, leave the area, I'll do you on their Section 8. I was like, all right, see you later. And then walking away with me bike, put the phone in the pocket. Second, the phone went in the pocket, nicked. You know, and so well, you can't say I'm just this is me talking about my own case, but they still haven't provided anyone with any sort of CCTV evidence, anything. They haven't provided anything. The Garda's name got mentioned again earlier. I'll go down and get the piece of paper in a few minutes, but he's not backing down. Like there's still 2 or 3 of them that are going ahead tomorrow. Now, like I said, one of them in particular admits it because I've told you the story of the chap who he's I say chap. It's about early 30s, right? And I'll tell you the story, refresh your mind. He was telling me because we had a few chats, and it turns out I knew his older brother through school or whatever, blah, blah, all that stuff. And I knew him from around the area. But he was saying, no, I admitted that I admitted I did something. Like, he threw something or something stupid. But it was when he turned around and seen his kids' reaction to seeing him do that, that's what made him admit it was guilt, you know? Just a genuine dude, man. Just a genuine guy. That's all he is. Yeah, it was the height of the anger, and people would say, what parts of the video that I had you got to look at, that you were a bit in their face and all. But that's just words. I didn't physically touch anyone, or I didn't do anything. It was just words. I mean, you can't. I've often said it. You could pay me while you're paying them, and let people swear at me all day. You know, just words, people. Surely they're able to just deal better towards people who are saying hordy words, or is it just we'll just arresting you all randomly? And by the way, any is that are recording, yours are going to be nicked. And then even when they get you through the court, by the way, never admit that you are guilty. Unlike your man, I said it's the opposite of what your man did, because he felt guilt on what he did, because it was his kid. When he turned around and see his kids, it was like fucking the heat of the moment took over, you know. But where was I going with that one? I lost my train of thought. Bugger. He's not, well, the guard isn't backing down with the case anyway, because there are 3 of them that are going ahead. And they ring me like they did last time. Now, the last time, it was my first time going through anything like that. And it was like a reminder that you're in court tomorrow, right? So I ring these fuckers straight back up, and I'm like, I said, oh, mine was hushed, or not hushed. What was the word I used? Like the judge kind of fobbed it, as if like saying to the guards, look, he's had 3 months to have this man stand in front of the court, and now you're saying that he's need another 12 weeks to look through CCTV camera. And when I rang her back, I said, so they must have stuff if you're ringing me and telling me, because they said the solicitor told me in the court that I don't have to return to this place because it's obvious that they have nothing on me, right? That's the God honest truth. I'm in the court. I'm not gonna lie about nothing. Don't lie in any way, but in court especially. And so I said, so why are you ringing me then? If she says, she says it was Collier's, something like this. Anyway, the individual that was representing us on the day, and she could see then that I was, and I was like, "Jay, you're not sending me into a panic here. like thinking that I had to be up in front of that place again, the stress of it and all this, you know, full of apologies and all this stuff. But the Garda who's is pushing the whole thing, the individual who's pushing the whole thing, is not backing down. He's going back to court again. So like it has me thinking it's just like some sort of pyramid scheme in the sense of guards go out, fulfill these quotas, you know. It keeps the whole system going in the sense of there's always someone coming through the door, always somebody coming through the door. But the other point that I was trying to make was, if you're not guilty, never admit your guilt. Never admit your guilt. Always plead your innocence. Always. No matter what. Because I told you as well, it was kind of said to me, well, if you wanna leave here early, type of situation, if you wanna leave here early, go in and admit that you're guilty. Like, I'm not admitting no fucking guilt. All I did was walk around and show people the way everything was completely peaceful every time I've been down outside that Crown Paints. And the only time it does store up is when the Gardaí come up in their bleeding halo outfits. You know? 3 layers of fucking body armor on them. It's looking like stormtroopers. They're the ones that store the shit. Pardon my French. La French. Let me have a look through the chat, hang on. Oh, that was back on. I was sharing that as well. There you go. So look at that. Solicitors never refuse money. Let me pin that up. Dog is streaming to the toilet. Let's see if I can find a little tree 4-minute video. We're out to the loo. Yeah. I showed you Le Pen, didn't I? Yeah, I showed you Le Pen. Actually, there was one. I'll say that. Hold back up. X is doing that thing again where it's rotating the view of it, so it's not going to really come up that big on the screen. Just bear with me for a sec, because she's at my leg here to the toilet. A minute at most. Sorry about that. I didn't have that. Nothing I wanted to share without talking over, you know, that way. Yeah, so switch it up a bit. Dave Benner, nemesis of neocons. Jeffrey Sachs explains how the US and NATO provoked war in Ukraine. That's interesting. Doesn't have Brett downstairs.
Ukraine war. This is not an attack by Putin on Ukraine in the way that we are told every day. This started in 1990. James Baker III, our Secretary of State, said to Mikhail Gorbachev, NATO will not move 1 inch eastward if you agree to German unification. The US then cheated on this, already starting in 1994, when Clinton signed off on a plan to expand NATO all the way to Ukraine.
Yeah, it's a flashing comment. True. Just to remain silent, like considering going through it personally, and that'd be what I'd do. Just don't say nothing, you know. Because they do when they do have you. I'll say this. I've said this story a few times. When you do go in to these places after they nick you, right? And real like the back of the courts is real gloomy. I don't know what it is. It's like it's kind of like a cheap knockoff of like some RoboCop movie. There you go. Like the operation, the way it all operates in there, and the layout of it with the old American style, cabinets for people's goods and stuff. But just don't say no. But they were when you did, because I made it a point of, with it being my local area, I made a point of looking each one of them in the eye, all these interns, looking each one of them in the eye and saying, you know, they're putting 1,000 unvetted males into Crown Paints straight across from the UCI. I still call it the UCI because the UCI to me, which is now the Odeon, and the Plex. I said Burger King, where like teenagers go, and they're going to be putting 1,000. You know, just made sure of trying to keep reminding them of the fact of why I was where I was, because that's the only reason I was there was to point out the fact that this is what was happening in that area, you know. And most of them look away. There were a few who, you know, tried to come back at you. The older ones, the ones say in their early 40s, try to come back at you and say like, where'd you hear that? Where you hearing all that? And I say just it's everywhere. And I said, if you're looking, you don't even have to look hard enough. I mean, sure, McEntee and all says that 80% are unvetted or whatever that are coming in through the north. You know, but they'll come back and then I'll be like, Ashley, you probably watch RTE, do you? He goes, yeah, of course I do. Watch RTE. Like, you know, just he knows, but it's just another little power trip thing that these individuals do. The ones that are overseeing all these new interns coming in that can't look you in the eye when you say what's happening. Recipe for disaster with soulless muppets like them in there. What's that? Let that Kenya. Jesus. Let that Kenya. Yeah, I've finished playing the rest of this. So, Jeffrey Sachs.
Ukraine. This is when the so-called neocons took power. The expansion of NATO started in 1999 with Poland, Hungary, and Czech Republic. Then The U.S. led the bombing of Serbia in 1999. That was a use of NATO to bomb a European capital, Belgrade, 78 straight days to break the country apart. The Russians didn't like that very much. But even Putin started out pro-European, pro-American, actually. He asked, maybe we should.
That's weird to hear, isn't it? How he was pro them sides. Like, everyone can take what they want from listening to individuals like this Dave Benner fella. But it's the inversion of what you would think was happening at these higher levels of people like Putin and all. And he's saying that Putin wanted to say no, everything, the way he sees it, he just tells it like it is, in the sense that Trump didn't want NATO pushing even further over. You know, I think he says it further on. That's the whole point of Putin's resistance, is the expansion of NATO.
Join NATO when there was still the idea of some kind of mutually respectful relationship. 9/11 came, then came Afghanistan, and the Russians said, yeah, we'll support you. We understand, to root out terror. In 2002, the United States unilaterally walked out of the Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty. What it did was trigger the U.S. putting in missile systems in Eastern Europe that Russia views as a dire, direct threat to national security by making possible a decapitation strike of missiles that are a few minutes away from Moscow. In 2004-05, we engaged in a soft regime change operation in Ukraine, the so-called First Color Revolution. But in 2009, Yanukovych won the election.
Say color revolution. Is that what he said? Or is it some foreign word? Concola. Sax. I just didn't think, yeah, sax. Oh.
And he became president in 2010 on the basis of neutrality for Ukraine. So in February 22nd, 2014, the United States participated actively in the overthrow of Yanukovych. They intercepted a really ugly call between Victoria Nuland and the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, Jeffrey Piat, who's a senior State Department official.
Pin Lay's channel there. People give her a follow.
Till today. And they talked about regime change. So they made the new government. The U.S. then said, okay, now NATO's really going to enlarge. And Putin kept saying, stop. You promised no NATO enlargement. Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Bulgaria, Romania, Slovakia, Slovenia, 7 more countries in the not 1 inch eastward. On December 15th.
Oh, that's interesting as well. Something about 7. Because remember, the Americans, after 9/11, which he started out by saying, and it was 7 countries in the Middle East, whereas he's talking about 7 countries within the Europe. Or within Europe.
15th, 2021, Putin put on the table a draft Russia-U.S. security agreement. The basis of it is no NATO enlargement.
That he's saying who there? Where is he? Be honest. Who? I can't think of the guy's name off the top of my head. He was a general, and he was called into a meeting in the Pentagon after 9/11. He said, and they told him that they were going to invade 7 countries in the Middle East, and they're going to start with Iraq. And he's like, Iraq? What the fuck did Iraq do? You know, that was him talking. It wasn't like a TED talk. It was, they were just sitting up there and a one-on-one type of thing. But this guy mentioned 7 countries within Europe. That's the 7 connection thing. That's what made me stop and say it.
Special military operation started, and 5 days later, Zelensky says, okay, neutrality. And then the United States and Britain said, no way. You guys fight on. We got your back. We don't have your front. You're all going to die. But we got your back. That's 600,000 deaths now of Ukrainians since.
That's a lot of people, isn't it? Since the start of that recent, I imagine he's only talking about the recent one and not since 2014 or whatever. But 600,000, nearly 1 million Ukrainians have perished because I think he actually says it, and I always say, we're playing games here. What he's doing playing games here, you know? Yeah, I think he says that literally now.
Boris Johnson flew to Kyiv to tell them to be brave. Absolutely ghastly. We have to understand we're not dealing with, as we're told every day, with this madman like Hitler. This is complete bogus, fake history that is a purely PR narrative of the U.S. government. We're playing games here.
Yeah, we're playing games here. That's probably one thing that's top of the list, is the fact knowing that they're just playing a game, and it's ordinary humans that suffer because of it. And to them, it's just a fucking game. You have the allow. Mainstream media, what's that? Mainstream media do not mention all these stuff. No. Not at all. 600,000. But just, you know, it's not like I don't think Ukraine has an army that size. 600,000. Say that's like if they're saying that all the like that's, you have to think about it. That's a lot of fucking innocent people are just seen as like collateral damage for their game. Wesley Clark, was it? Wesley Clark, sort of fair-haired guy. Yeah, the audience laughed. Kind of like when Ike, remember when Ike went on Terry Wogan? And when they all laughed, he was like, "No, that's good. That's your negative energy coming out." You know, just throw it straight back on them, man. On that ball. America is in there for billions. Yeah. Most of them did send over a lot, didn't they? Like a couple of, you hear it now and again. Oh, a couple of billion there, you know, 2 billion there. So the entire West funding this country just so they can, I don't know, defend them. Is that what they're saying? It's just so they can defend themselves against the onslaught of a Russian invasion. And the Reds under the beds. Huh? It's another way of affecting the mass psyche. We get that on the worldwide scale. Like another one they would use would be the money, holding money over us. Like if we don't adhere to this, we run for the risk of being fined, you know, 6 billion. I think who was it? One of the Social Democrats who, she's aged something fierce. Like she always looked real, you know, vibrant and youthful. But Holly, is it? Holly Cairns, is that her name? But she's it's definitely after taking. It's like what it did to El Hamas Harris, where it took its toll on his hair. When you look at Holly Cairns now, because that's like I suppose you could call that like vampiric as well as karmatic, in a sense. Like she's given so much of our energy towards what the normal common sense person would think is downright evil. You know, let's face it. And she's given so much energy into that it's just basically sucked the life force out of her. I think it's Holly Cairns. People would know her. What's this? Local soldier from Mobile hopes Trump will end the conflict in Ukraine. From Page, what's that? From Page on local paper today. Must read it. Good to see a headline like that. Well, to talk about Trump, that video he did where he said it was, you know, you can see how it's all like kind of the lighting in the video and all is to make it, give it that sense of, well, it is urgent, the things he's talking about, you know. So whether the people that they actually follow through with them. Because I'm just remembering the last time he got elected and it was all like, well, yeah, if I get elected, yeah, Hillary Clinton will be in prison and all this. But then do it, do you know? Then fucking do it. That would have been a fucking, pardon the French, that would have been a good sign that something was actually going to happen. But he mentions like going after doctors who carry out these procedures on children who haven't like developed fully and stuff, you know, like mature wise and all that, like the young children, and that they're gonna go after them doctors and hold them accountable for their crimes against that child, and any immigrant that harms an American citizen will be given the death penalty. He said it. Like I could show it. I don't really like showing certain videos because then people just think, oh well, then you're all in on what that person is all about and what he represents and everything. But it's another case of just trying to take points that matter to me, you know. Not the Democrats. Do you know what I call them? The Diddy-crats. The Diddy-crats. But it's about taking those things that you feel are important to you and would like to be brought to more people's attention, you know. Because that's I always tell you, that's like the world's currency is our attention. Wherever our attention flows, all that stuff, you know. Then having the thought of, well, most of them are in there and they know what they're doing is wrong, and they actually just see it as a game, like your man was saying. It's just one big game to them. But the certain people out there like myself is, I'd rather, now could you please not, well, not even say, could you please not, you're past that stage, aren't you? It's just like, don't be killing innocent people to continue this sick, twisted game you all play of moving the people around and changing how society is in certain countries, and you know, all that stuff. And they're forced because they're forcing it. They know they're forcing it. You had chicken, did you? Lovely. I had a chicken curry yesterday. Hopefully back in sleep for it. Yeah, you're supposed to be neutral. Yeah, man. Yeah, sure. Yeah, so yeah, that was Dave Benner. This is kicked off a bit of. It was a Fine Gael meeting, right? And your man O'Leary got up, Michael O'Leary, mocking teachers. So for people who haven't seen this Share present. Yeah, can you see that?
I think in Peter we have a candidate who comes from the private sector, which is absolutely vital. The Dáil is full of teachers. Nothing wrong with teachers. I love teachers. I have 4 children. But I wouldn't generally employ a lot of teachers to go out and get things done. I think it's important that we have people who come from the private sector, like Peter. It's important that we have more accountants. We may lack personality, but we make up in action and energy what we lack in personality. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's vital on November the 29th that we vote for Peter Burke. We give him our number 1. By the way, I would also urge everybody, give your number 2 to somebody in Fianna Fáil as well. It's important, I think, in this election that Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil supporters transfer to each other.
Must keep the power amongst ourselves. Made me think of the bleeding Skeksis and the Dark Crystal. No, and they're all these guys. They see themselves as like divine beings. You know, we must keep the power between ourselves. Don't let them gain any further knowledge. So that was O'Leary there of and it kicked off a big kerfuffle. I think like what's his name? Gannon, Gobshite Gannon, was out there kicking off murder, saying look at how they view Irish teachers and all this stuff. And like it's just that fucking pantomime. You know, pantomime with them. The game. Is he right? O'Leary. He is one of the wealthiest men in Ireland, isn't he? None of them give a shit. Yeah, what's that saying there? Has anyone looked up the transfers that started to redeem the blue books back in 1930s Germany? Well, I looked into a person of, if you're interested, looking into it would be Magnus Hirschfeld. Shout out to Frankie, but on to him, Magnus Hirschfeld. Spend about an hour. You wouldn't even need an hour. You know, after a Google on him or a AI, tell me who Magnus Hirschfeld was. Jobby. It's getting super good, that bleeding AI, man, because you can, say I could just say that to it now, and then it gives you an option then to, once it's complete, to read it out to you. So it's a double-edged sword, though, because you could see it as, especially with the AI generating stuff, I can see it as like as us as a species losing part of our like our imagination. You know, so it's a double edge. It's good for getting fast knowledge on something, and it's constantly up there. You can pay to stay like really up to date, like within a 2-year period or something. Sure, don't pay for any of them. They're all free apps. Yes, they are. Yeah, that's why I said it's like a double edge. It's like a double edge. But yeah, when I do see that, Anya, when you do see because I've shared on my posts with the flag being on the altar, you know, in a church, in a Christian church and stuff like that. And that does make me think like there's something terribly wrong going on. It just sends this spider senses tingling like crazy. Yeah. But like it's the rest of them, Sean. It's just like a game to him. He'd be with him being one of the big players, being one of the wealthiest fuckers. You know, just a game to the mofo. I think some evil spirits in the Bible are half and half. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, I'm sure I've come across one. This isn't actually Bible related, but one thing I found fascinating was, did you know the zodiac? That the zodiac signs, yeah, and there's 12 of them. I'm gonna ask you to reply in the comment section about this one, to see who's aware of it. But you know there's 12 signs, yeah. Is it something you can look into if you just have to spare a few minutes? They say there's 12, but there's actually 13 of them, and it's another. I suppose you could say it's another reason the number 13 is seen as danger or bogey. The 13th one is called Ophiuchus. And when I first seen it, I was like, "This is something new," you know. So just get the drink there. Yeah, the 13th one is called Ophiuchus, and he's a snake bearer. It's literally an image of a guy. I'll show you some. It's the image of a guy holding a snake. Once again, the snake coming back again. It always pops up. Ophiuchus, the unofficial 13th constellation of the zodiac. I don't know what made this just spring into my mind. Someone said something made it spring into my mind. If you were born somewhere between November 30th and December 18th, chances are the sun was in constellation Ophiuchus, the serpent. And look at that. Isn't that just like... I'm like, why don't they... I'll stop sharing that one. I'm like, why don't they... Why isn't this talked about? See? The snake bearer. Suppose it was you saying the Bible part, and the snake. And what was also interesting is he's usually depicted. He's usually depicted with, Frankie will know this one, with a red heifer, like that. Look. Now a red heifer on the snake, or attached to it. And I wish I could tell you what the thing actually fucking means. You know? Wish I could be exact with you. But when I came across that, I was like, it's just immediately, you know, the tingly feeling. Tell me more, you know. But yeah, the 13th zodiac. Ophiuchus. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Ophiuchus. I'll go back to what I had bookmarked about Ireland. Just go off on a bleeding tangent on this. What time are we at? 12. Now, it is, like I said, Twitter being the place to be if you want to see genuine responses to the people that run the country. Like, for instance, a representative known as Miss Doherty, MEP. She said a busy week ahead in Brussels and Dublin. Actually, I'll keep it on the screen so you can see it as I talk you through it. She goes, a busy week ahead in Brussels and Dublin. The final confirmation hearings of the new EU commissioners take place tomorrow. So this was shared. So it took place on the 12th, whatever. This will be followed by a mini plenary session where the Parliament will discuss the outcome of the US election, Europe's defence, deforestation regulation. Big words, blah, blah, blah. But you see, you go into here. Now, I mean, that's Ninja Knight pointed this out before. 25k followers, and it's been up what? This second day, 2.5 days later. 39 likes, 3 requotes, and if I go into here, show you these beautiful requotes. Ian Tobin says, this is why EU is in decline. The only thing the EU signatories voted for when endorsing EU treaties was the reduction of economic friction across Euroland. EU pills now focused on stuff they have no influence over. Ex-EU wars and the weather. EU just accelerating harder into the wall. That's one of the retweets of it. 2 reposted but didn't quote it. But there's some of the people in here, like the random "you are the best" or whatever. A busy week, lol. You're basically rubber stampers on non-important issues in the EU Parliament. Some circus. Krusty the clown got blasted. I shared that meme before. Not Grand Theft Auto or all the Irish politicians on it. But this is the genuine reply of people, what people think of individuals like Miss Doherty, who always looks like a proper bleeding psycho in photos, doesn't she? Oh, Doherty. Just check chat here for a second. Yeah, that's one there, Paul. That's a good comment there. And that one about the teachers. The teachers are the ones embracing this ideology, teaching the kids. They're very important tool of the establishment and are the molders of young minds. It's all pantomime. Yeah. No, I'll teach this. Yeah, well, you do see who's well, Jana London's been interviewing a few of the teachers that are completely against it, and been getting their videos out there as much as she can. She was actually turned up at one of the meetings that one of the speeches by Stephen Donnelly and put hardball questions to him. She ended up getting thrown out of the place, didn't she? Or not thrown out of the place, but they the whole crowd turned on her and like told her, "Shh, don't say that." Like Mary and Mick would be saying things about us, this sort of shit. Can someone remind me as well? There was something that's going to be taking place. Is it the end of this month? Someone just pop it in the chat there. I don't know if you know. Well, I think it was Lady. You said something to me about something happening in town later on this month. Isn't it funny how none of our retired politicians are criticising what's going on at the moment? Yeah. Like, even I would have thought Vinnie Brown would be out, but I suppose he's past it. made his dash, finished giving out. But yeah, just I want to just throw that up before I retire to bed. There was something about a gathering at the end of this month. Don't hold me to it, but I just heard through somewhere, through the grapevine. Or if I tell you what, if I come across it, I'll put it up on me. Or the candle, what's it? The candle vigil for the children at the school. There you go. Yeah. I'm at that point now where it's like, you know, how do you sort of describe this part? Because it's like I want to show respect for the people that passed, yeah, but at the same time go and just show and hope that it's not being controlled like the most recent one where they held the vigil there in Balladrin. What's these numbers? What's that count back? 60 from 1941. It's going to lead off into like the Balfour Declaration and stuff like that, is it? And how Balfour, very symbolic that the picture of him getting slashed. Remember? It was only earlier this year as well. The old self-portrait of Balfour, Mr. Balfour, got slashed and tossed with red paint or something. I'll take a few. Actually, I'll take a few questions off people before I shoot one. A few minutes of questions. Because I'm sure, like, I know me pointing all this stuff out can be a bit heavy as well for the certain things that I would talk about, but they have to be fucking addressed. You know, you have to talk about them because it's like with everything. Unless you have listened to all sides, you know, you're not going to be able to come to an understanding. And when you see the likes of individuals, certain YouTubers who might go to gatherings and are shunned like outsiders, like let's just keep it in the sense of when the YouTubers attend the left wing marches, that they're kind of like seen as the enemy just because they want to record what's going on, you know? And that should be like the biggest red flag for everybody, is that they don't even want people mingling with them that might be recording what they're doing or what they're really about, you know? That's a big red flag. And then, of course, when these same YouTubers go to the other side, same in England, it's the exact same in England, the exact same all around the world. Because you see, there's another chap now, I think he's an English fella, but he was in America, and he done a few videos in America, and it's the same thing. That these lefty groups, these like pro-Palestine, it's always the same lot, you know, NGOs, pro-Rainbow Squad, that they absolutely, one of their biggest fears is having someone who they know isn't like on their side in that sense, if I'm making sense there. Like, it's someone they know wasn't blue check marked, you know, by the people who run that side. And they just go on the attack, and they're very, very violent and aggressive. You seen what they did over here in Ireland there when the Was it Blinders that shared it? And Evan Gerrigan, I think that's his name, the Gerrigans. He was one of them. These lads are NGO bleeding charity heads. They're going around attacking Irish citizens who are just like trying to stand out and highlight something what's happening in their area. Mad stuff. Is that why they're so cautious with anyone that hasn't been blue ticked or approved of by their superiors to come in and videotape amongst them? I won't even, like, there's a few times I've went close to them, but I'd never mingle. I wouldn't even think about mingling with them. It's just a fucking walking evil cesspit amongst them. You know, the crowd full of crusties. Yeah. The 23rd of November at 6:30, candle vigil at the Garden of Remembrance. There you go. Oh. There you go. And that's for the school children there. Last year. You're talking about what suicide, see? But I'm literally hanging here, so what I'll do is I'll get the link. I'll throw it at people. Can you hear it in my voice here? Yeah, have a look at this, people. Something sends you off the bed. Oh, you already got it, did you? I'm so everything's me. My hand reaction speed and everything is slow. And that's alright. Let's go and be in town, Patsy. So you're a bit late. I'm shooting off now. What they are teaching our kids affects everyone. Yeah. Children are the future, and they are being indoctrinated. Bingo. So there's that one there. You want to go have a look? Yeah, I'm absolutely knackered. The dog's at me again, so she must want to drink this time. And go check out Joni's channel if people here are not aware of Joni's channel. Very insightful. And on that note, I shall love and leave you all. I'm going to my bed. Look after one another. Yeah, what's that? Look, honest before I go, the rapist thing. Yeah, well, it's looking like they're keeping the pressure on them, and it's it's gonna go through and everything. Oh, they're typos. Go on. Good night.